Hello, I'm Katie. I'm the educator here and I'm a midwife and lactation consultant. What we're going to talk about today is just what to expect in those first few days when your baby's been born and when you go home from the hospital. Now, babies will really want to feed incredibly frequently in the first week, if not for longer. And often you'll hear people say, oh, babies feed every 3 hours. But really, they're probably going to feed much more frequently than that, particularly in the first couple of days. Because what we know is happening in the first couple of days is your breasts hold a wonderful milk called colostrum. And colostrum is very, very rich in sugar. It's sticky and it's thick, but it's very tiny in quantity. And babies will have a feed, but they may want to go back and have another feed 40 minutes, an hour, 2 hours later. And they might want to be breastfeeding for quite some time as well. Now this is very normal, and that's why it's so important to try and get rest when your baby rests. Now this sounds like a cliched mantra, but it hasn't gone out of fashion because it's so true. You are going to be doing night shifts and day shifts, and there's not really any days off when you become a mum. So it's very important to try and rest as much as possible in those first few days. Limit your visitors. And just be mindful and be kind to yourself, because your body's creating milk and trying to feed this beautiful baby. Once you go home, that isn't an excuse to try and do everything as well. Things can wait for that first couple of weeks until you start getting into the pattern of feeling, more awake and more able to do a bit more than just the feeding. Because babies will probably be feeding somewhere between 8 and 12 times a day once your milk comes in. And they're probably spending some period of time, like 15, 20, 40 minutes at the breast. You're probably having to then change their nappy and maybe even some settling time. So most babies, a whole feed will take about an hour. And if we're doing that 10, 12 times a day, there's not much time for anything else. So in the first week, it's going to be very, very busy, but this is very, very normal. Get as much support as possible, be kind to yourself, and rest when baby rests as well. And that's probably the best advice we can give you for the first week. So for more tips as we go along and continue your journey, please join us at the Medela Breastfeeding blog, and we'll see you there.